She married a human to end a war, then watched him destroy armies alone. Part 1. Princess stood at the observation deck of the Imperial Palace, watching her world burn. Not literally, not yet, but the smoke rising from the orbital defense platforms told her everything she needed to know. The humans were winning. 6 months ago, her father, Emperor, had laughed when the human ships first appeared at the border. They were small compared to the battle cruisers. Their demands for peace were ignored. The Empire had conquered 12 star systems over 3 centuries. These newcomers would learn to bow, just like everyone else. Then the first battle happened. They lost half their fleet in 2 hours. Now watched another defense station explode in silent fury against the black sky. The humans didn't fight like anyone else. They moved faster, hit harder, and never stopped. Every battle ended the same way: defeat. "My daughter!" Her father's voice came from behind her. She turned to see him walking across the crystal floor, his royal robes dragging. He looked old now, tired. The war had aged him 20 years in 6 months. Father bowed her head. "The council has made a decision." Emperor stopped beside her, looking out at the dying station. "We will sue for peace." Hearts jumped, both of them beating fast in her chest. They will accept. They have terms. Her father's jaw tightened. The humans want an alliance, a marriage alliance. One of royal blood must marry one of theirs. The words hit her like cold water. Marriage, to a human, to one of the creatures destroying their empire. "Who?" asked quietly. "You volunteered." Her father looked at her with tired eyes. "Before I could ask." Felt her hands shake. She had volunteered. The moment he said marriage, she knew. Her 3 brothers were dead, killed in the early battles. Her sister was too young. It had to be her. "When?" she asked. "1 week. They are sending their chosen." Her father put a hand on her shoulder. "I am sorry, my daughter, but you may save our people." Nodded slowly. Save our people. That was what princesses did, even if it meant marrying a monster. The week passed too quickly. Learned what she could about humans. They were strange, smaller than on average but denser, stronger. They had higher gravity. They needed less sleep. They healed faster. Everything about them was built for war. The wedding was set to happen on a neutral station between their territories, dressed in traditional crystal-white robes that reflected light like water. Her ladies painted her face with silver patterns. She looked like a bride. She felt like a sacrifice. The transport ship was quiet. Her father sat across from her, saying nothing. What was there to say? Looked out the window at the stars and wondered what her husband would be like. A commander, probably. Some cruel general who enjoyed killing. She would smile and play the good wife. And she would learn their secrets. Maybe she could find a way to save her people properly, from the inside. The neutral station was called Haven's Gate. It was small, built just for peace talks. When stepped off the transport, human soldiers lined the corridor. They wore gray uniforms and carried weapons she didn't recognize. Their eyes followed her. Cold, calculating. A human woman waited at the end of the hall. She wore an admiral's uniform with silver stars on her shoulders. "Princess," she said in perfect language, "I am Admiral, welcome." "Thank you," kept her voice steady. "Your future husband is waiting." Admiral gestured to a door. "Would you like to meet him before the ceremony?" Hearts hammered, yes. The door opened into a small room with windows showing the stars. A man stood there looking out. He was human, but not what she expected. He wore a simple gray uniform with no decorations, no medals. He was tall for a human, with dark hair and darker eyes. His hands were. Old burns crisscrossed his fingers. He turned when she entered. For a moment, they just looked at each other. "Princess," his voice was quiet. He spoke with a strange accent. "My name is—" Simple name. She had expected something complicated, aggressive. "You are a soldier," she said. "Yes." "What rank?" "I don't have one." The expression didn't change. "I'm listed as a specialist advisor." That made no sense, but you command armies. No, I fight alone. Felt cold. Alone? What kind of warrior fought alone? I don't understand. You will, walked closer. He was respectful, keeping distance. I need you to know something before we do this. I didn't ask for this marriage. My commanders thought it would be good for me, but I will honor it. I will protect you and your people. That is my promise. Studied his face. He didn't look cruel, he looked tired, like her father, like someone who had seen too much death. Why would they think marriage would be good for you? She asked. His mouth moved slightly, almost a smile. Because I'm very good at my job and they want me to stop. Before could ask more, Admiral entered. It's time. The ceremony was strange. Half crystal rituals, half human simplicity. Spoke the ancient words of binding, repeated them in his rough accent. They exchanged tokens. She gave him a crystal from her home world. He gave her a small metal disc with numbers on it. My dog tags, he said quietly. Every soldier carries them. When it was done, they were married, husband and wife, alliance sealed. A celebration followed. Both sides tried to be friendly. Noticed how the human soldiers watched, not with fear exactly, but with respect, deep respect. One of them whispered to another near her. Can't believe they're putting him here. After station, he deserves rest. Did you see the Hydra incident footage? Caught eye across the room. He was watching her watch the soldiers. He knew she was listening, but he just raised his glass slightly, a small toast, to their marriage, to the fragile peace. That night in quarters they were supposed to share, set up a bed on the floor. You take the bed, he said. I don't sleep much anyway. Sat on the edge of the bed. What are they afraid of, your soldiers? They're not afraid of me. Lay down on the floor, hands behind his head. They're afraid of what I represent. Which is what humans become when we have no other choice. He closed his eyes. Get some rest, princess. The peace won't last, it never does. Lay awake for hours, listening to her husband breathe, wondering what kind of man she had married, wondering what he meant. 3 weeks later, she found out. She married a human to end a war, then watched him destroy armies alone. Part 2. The alert came at dawn, woke to red lights flashing in their quarters, was already awake, already dressing. He moved with practiced speed, pulling on his combat gear. What's happening? Sat up, her heart's racing. Attack on 7, one of your colony worlds, strapped armor plates to his chest. The Horde is testing the Alliance. Jumped from the bed. The brutal warriors who enjoyed killing. If they were attacking a world, thousands would die. The fleet is 3 days away. Checked his weapons. A rifle, 2 pistols, knives, grenades, so many ways to kill. The colonists don't have 3 days. Then what will we do? Looked at her, really looked at her. I'm going alone, you're staying here. Alone? Felt her blood turn cold. That's suicide. The reports say 50,000 warriors landed. I know. You can't. I've done it before. His voice was calm, like he was discussing the weather. I need you to stay safe, that's the mission. I'm your wife, stood, pulling on her own clothes. If you die, the Alliance dies, I'm coming with you. Was quiet for a moment, then he nodded once. Stay on the ship, no matter what you see, promise me. I promise. The dropship was fast. Military transport, stripped down for speed. Admiral appeared on the comm screen as they flew. This is not authorized, she said. She looked angry, worried. I'm not asking permission, checked his rifle. The colonists are dying right now. Every minute we debate, more die. You can't fight an army alone. Watch me, cut the comm. Sat in the co-pilot seat watching her husband. He was so calm, too calm, like he had done this 100 times before. Maybe he had. 7 appeared in the window. It was a small world, green and blue, pretty. Smoke rose from the settlements now. The ship circled above like predators. They don't see us yet, said. Stealth systems will get close. The ship descended through atmosphere, saw the encampment through the clouds, thousands of warriors, weapons, vehicles. They had built a fortress around the main colony city. The colonists were trapped inside, surrounded. "This is insane," whispered, "even for a human." Probably stood and walked to the drop pod. "Remember your promise, stay on the ship." But he was already climbing into the pod. The metal shell closed around him. Through the small window, saw him give her one last look. Then the pod launched. It fell like a meteor, watched on the ship's sensors as it streaked toward the encampment. She expected them to shoot it down. They didn't. By the time they realized what it was, the pod hit the ground, right in the center of their camp. For a moment nothing happened. The sensors showed warriors surrounding the pod, weapons ready. Then the pod exploded outward, emerged in the smoke. What happened next would never forget. She watched through the combat drones that followed. He moved like water, like death. The first to reach him died in seconds. His rifle barked. One shot, one kill, then two, three. They charged him in waves. He let them come. But wasn't just fighting. He was thinking. Every shot hit something important. A fuel tank, an ammunition box, a support beam. Explosions rippled through the lines. Their own supplies became weapons against them. "This isn't possible," breathed. Ran between their fortifications. They chased him, firing wildly, but he was always one step ahead. He led them into each other's fire. He made them destroy their own defenses. When a vehicle tried to run him down, he rolled aside and threw a grenade into its engine. The blast took out an entire squad. 30 minutes passed. They weren't attacking anymore. They were running, panicking. One human was destroying their army from the inside. Their commanders screamed orders, but their soldiers didn't listen. They had never seen anything like this. Fought for 2 hours, watched every second. She saw him get hit. Bullets grazed his armor. Shrapnel cut his face. He didn't stop. Blood ran down his cheek, but his hands stayed steady. His eyes stayed cold. Finally, the commander appeared, a massive warrior in heavy armor. He bellowed a challenge at. Shot him in the head. No drama, no speech, just one shot. The commander fell and the army broke. They surrendered. 50,000 warriors surrendering to one man. Made them broadcast it on all channels. Made sure every ship in the sector heard their shame. Then he calmly walked back toward the drop zone. Met him at the ship's ramp. He climbed aboard, blood and dirt covering his armor. His face was blank, empty. "Are you injured?" she asked. "Nothing serious." Started removing his gear. His hands were steady, no shaking, no fear. "How?" Couldn't find better words. "How did you do that?" "Training, experience." Sat down heavily. "They rely on numbers, take away their coordination and they're just a mob." "You've done this before." It wasn't a question. Nodded slowly. 63 times, 63 deployments, 63 victories. Felt her legs go weak. She sat beside him. 63 battles like that. Some were harder, some were easier. Closed his eyes. "I don't enjoy it anymore. I used to feel something, pride, satisfaction. Now it's just," he trailed off. "Just what?" "Just something I'm good at." Opened his eyes and looked at her. "That's why they married me to you, Admiral, the Human Council. They thought if I had something to live for beyond war, I might stop. I might retire." "But you can't," said softly. She understood now. "No, because people need me." His jaw tightened. "Those colonists down there needed me, and I'm the only one who could reach them in time." Looked at this strange man she had married. This human who fought armies alone. She had thought humans were monsters, but wasn't a monster. He was something worse. He was a weapon that couldn't be put away because people kept needing it. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "For what?" "For what they made you." Was quiet for a long time. Then he reached out and took her hand. His grip was gentle despite the scars. "Thank you," he said, "for coming with me, for keeping your promise." The ship lifted off from 7. Below them, colonists emerged from their shelters. They were safe. Because of one human, because of. News of the battle spread fast. Within hours, every faction in the galaxy knew. The humans had a soldier who could break armies alone. Some thought it was propaganda. Others believed. The smart ones started to fear. And in the dark between stars, Warlord Vex of the Eclipse Armada heard the news. He threw his cup against the wall of his command ship. "Impossible," he snarled. "One human cannot defeat 50,000 warriors." His advisor bowed low. "The footage is real, my lord, we have confirmed." "I don't care about footage." Vex stood from his throne. He was massive even for his species, scales like armor, claws like swords. "This human thinks he can make us afraid. I will show him fear." "My lord." "Prepare the fleet." Vex's smile was terrible. "We're going to test this demon, and when he breaks, the galaxy will know that humans bleed just like everyone else." Back on Haven's Gate Station, lay awake again, slept on the floor beside the bed. She watched him breathe, so peaceful in sleep, like a normal person. But she had seen what he was, what he could do, and she knew with terrible certainty that the galaxy wouldn't let him rest. They would come for him, test him, try to break him. And would fight, because that was what he did, what he was made for. Closed her eyes and prayed to the old gods of her world, prayed for the man who saved her people, the man who couldn't save himself. The war was far from over. She married a human to end a war, then watched him destroy armies alone. Part 3. Warlord Vex's challenge arrived 2 weeks after 7. It came as a transmission broadcast across every channel. Military, civilian, everyone heard it. Vex's face filled the screens. He was terrifying to look at, all scales and sharp edges. His eyes glowed red. When he spoke, his voice shook the speakers. "Humans, you claim strength. You claim your warrior can defeat armies." Vex leaned forward. "I call him coward. I call you all cowards. If this is truly strong, let him face my champion. One combat, single fight. The winner's side claims victory. The loser's alliance breaks." Watch from the command center of Haven's Gate. Stood beside her, face blank. Around them, human and officers shouted in anger. "This is a trap," Admiral said. "Vex doesn't play fair." "Of course it's a trap." Emperor's voice came through the comm. "We cannot accept." But Vex wasn't finished. "If the human refuses, I will bring 15 battlecruisers to your border. I will burn every world one by one, and the humans will watch. They will do nothing, and everyone will know the alliance is a lie." The transmission ended. Silence filled the room. "He has 50,000 soldiers on those ships," an analyst said quietly. "If we fight fleet to fleet, millions will die." "If we accept the challenge, only dies," another officer muttered. His hand moved so fast barely saw it. He grabbed the officer's collar and pulled him close. "Say that again," said softly. The officer turned pale. I just meant." "You meant I'm expendable. Let him go." "You're right, I am, but don't pretend you're not hopping. I'll say yes." Admiral stepped between them. "Stand down." "No," turned to face the room. "You all know the numbers. A fleet battle will kill millions. If I fight, maybe only I die. That's good math." "We can't ask you to do this," Emperor said from the comm. "You're not asking, I'm volunteering." Looked at, his eyes were tired, so tired. "What did Vex say? The challenge is on neutral ground." "A moon, dead world. No one lives there," pulled up the data. "But you can't trust Vex, he'll cheat." "I know," studied the moon's surface. "Rocky, barren, send my acceptance." "No," grabbed his arm. "This is suicide even for you." "Maybe," covered her hand with his. "But if I don't go, millions die. You see that, right? The math is simple." "I don't care about math," felt tears on her face. When had she started crying? "You're my husband. We've been married 3 weeks. I barely know you, and you're going to die." Wiped her tears gently. "Then you won't miss me much." That's not funny. I know, pulled her close just for a moment. If I don't come back, the alliance continues. That was the deal. Your people stay safe. Wanted to hit him, wanted to scream, but she just held him. This strange, broken human who thought his life was worth less than numbers on a screen. The Human Council refused to authorize the fight. Went anyway. He stole a transport and flew to the moon alone. By the time anyone could stop him, he was already landing. Followed in her own ship. She wouldn't watch from a distance this time. If it was going to die, she would see it. The moon was gray and cold. No atmosphere, just rocks and dust under a black sky. Vex had built an arena there, a circle of metal walls rising from the dead ground, cameras everywhere. He wanted the whole galaxy to watch. Stood in the center wearing his armor. No helmet, he wanted them to see his face. Ship hung in orbit, but she watched through the cameras, every angle, every view. Vex's ship landed on the opposite side. A ramp extended, expected one warrior, one champion. 3 came out. They were massive, bigger than any natural creature, bioengineered, built for killing. Their skin was metal and flesh mixed together. They carried weapons that hummed with power. Each one was designed to be perfect, faster than fast, stronger than strong. He cheated, breathed. The challenge said champion, one champion. Vex thinks he's clever, Admiral's voice came through the comm. She was watching too. Champion can be plural in his language. In the arena, looked at the 3 monsters walking toward him. He didn't look surprised, just tired. Of course, he said to himself, why would it be easy? The first champion charged. It moved like lightning, rolled aside, firing his rifle. The bullets bounced off its armor, cursed and switched to grenades. The explosion knocked the champion back but didn't kill it. The second champion attacked from the side, barely dodged. A claw scraped across his armor, leaving deep marks. The third champion was circling, waiting for an opening. This was different from those were regular soldiers. These were monsters designed to kill him specifically. They knew how humans fought. They were ready for his tricks. Ran not in panic, tactically. He led them around the arena, studying them, learning their patterns. The first champion was strong but slow. The second was fast but reckless. The third was patient, dangerous. A claw caught his leg. He went down hard. Blood spread across the gray dust. The champions closed in. Get up, whispered. Please get up. Did slowly. His leg was badly hurt, but he raised his rifle again. The fight continued. Minutes felt like hours, was bleeding from a dozen wounds. His armor was cracked, but he kept moving, kept thinking. He used the arena itself, led the champions into the metal walls, made them hit each other, small victories, tiny advantages. The first champion fell when collapsed part of the arena wall on it. The second died when tricked it into the third champion's strike. They were so strong, they killed their own ally. Now it was 1 against 1, and the third champion. Both were wounded, both were exhausted. You fight well, human, the champion said. It could talk. But you are bleeding, you are dying. Probably, said, his voice was weak, but so are you. It was true, the champion had taken damage too. Its metal flesh was torn. Sparks flew from exposed circuits. They charged each other. One last time, had no more grenades, no more tricks, just his knife and his will. The champion's claw caught his shoulder. His knife found the champion's throat. They fell together into the dust. For a terrible moment, neither moved. Then pushed the dead champion off him and stood. Barely. He was covered in blood. His leg could barely hold his weight, but he stood. The arena was silent. Across the galaxy, billions watched, waiting. Vex said to the cameras, send another or keep your word. Vex's face appeared on every screen. His rage was terrible. You think you've won, human, you think. The space around the moon lit up. Ships, dozens of them, human battlecruisers all around Vex's fleet. Admiral's voice boomed across all channels. We came for our soldier, Vex. He won your challenge. Now leave, or we end you. Vex's ships were surrounded, outmaneuvered. You cheated, Vex snarled. We learned from you, replied coldly. Now go, before we change our minds. The Eclipse Armada fled, jumped to hyperspace and ran like cowards. The challenge was over. Ship landed in the arena. She ran too. He collapsed into her arms. I knew they'd come, he whispered, blood on his lips. The fleet, they wouldn't leave me. You knew, held him tight. Then why were you so ready to die? Because I had to be. Eyes closed, had to look real, make Vex think I was alone. He passed out, held her husband in the gray dust of a dead moon and cried, not because he had won, because he had been willing to lose everything for strangers. For her people, for the Alliance, for a future he might not live to see. The war wasn't over, but something had changed. The galaxy had seen what happened when you challenged a human, when you pushed them to the edge. They didn't break, they pushed back harder. She married a human to end a war, then watched him destroy armies alone. Part 4. Spent 3 weeks in the medical bay. His injuries were severe. Broken ribs, torn muscles, deep cuts that needed surgery. The doctors said he was lucky to be alive, thought luck had nothing to do with it, was simply too stubborn to die. She sat beside his bed every day, reading, thinking, sometimes talking when he was awake enough to listen. Mostly she just watched him sleep and wondered about the man she had married. On the 4th day, Admiral visited. How is he? Asked quietly. She stood at the foot of his bed, looking down at him with something like sadness. Healing slowly, set down her data pad. The doctors say he'll recover. He always does, pulled up a chair. Can I tell you something, Princess? Something about your husband? Nodded. Wasn't born a soldier, he was a teacher, history, on a small colony world called Station. Eyes were distant. He had a quiet life, students, friends, a woman he loved, her name was. Felt something cold in her chest. What happened? Pirates attacked the station. Not military, just criminals looking for supplies, but they were cruel, they took hostages, was one of them. Paused, tried to negotiate, tried everything. They killed her anyway, just to make a point. I'm sorry, whispered. The pirates holed up in the station's main corridor, holding 300 people. Military backup was 8 hours away. Everyone thought it was over, leaned forward, but picked up a gun. One gun from a dead security guard, and he walked into that corridor alone. 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 He had never fired a weapon before, never trained, but he was so angry, so full of rage and grief. He fought them for 8 hours, used every trick he could think of. Every bit of the station's layout he knew as a teacher. By the time the military arrived, he had saved everyone, all 300 hostages. Looked at sleeping face, and then the military saw what he did, what he could do. They offered him training, made him a soldier. His voice turned bitter, turned a teacher into a weapon, and he was good at it, too good. Every battle he fought, he won. Every mission succeeded, until he couldn't stop, until winning was all he knew. Why are you telling me this? Asked. Because you need to understand. Doesn't fight because he's a monster. He fights because he remembers everyone he couldn't save, and he'll keep fighting until it kills him. Stood. Unless someone gives him a reason to stop. That's why we married him to you. We hoped you could be that reason. After left, sat in silence. She looked at with new eyes, a teacher, a man who loved, a man who lost everything and turned his grief into something useful, something terrible. That night when the medical staff had gone, accessed military file. She knew she probably shouldn't, but she needed to understand. The file was massive, 63 deployments, 63 detailed reports. She started reading. Station, the first one, had told her the basics, but the full report was worse. Had fought for 8 hours with no training, been shot twice, stabbed once, kept fighting, saved 300 lives. Then came the military missions, each one impossible, each one successful. The Hydra incident, a weapon designed to destroy planets, infiltrated the facility alone, destroyed it from inside, nearly died in the explosion. The siege of New Damascus, 10,000 enemy soldiers surrounding a hospital, held them off for 3 days until reinforcements arrived, saved 2,000 civilians. The list went on, every battle more impossible than the last, every victory paid for in blood and pain. Blood, pain. Read until dawn. When she finished, she understood the other soldiers' fear, the respect, the way they watched. He wasn't human to them anymore, he was something else. A symbol, a weapon, a ghost that couldn't die. But it held him in her arms on that gray moon. She had felt him shake, felt his blood on her hands. He could die. He was human, just human. That's what made it all so tragic. When woke the next morning, was still sitting there. "You look tired," he said. His voice was rough from sleep. "I read your file, Sid, all of it." Was quiet. "You weren't supposed to do that." "I know, I'm sorry," moved closer. "Why didn't you tell me about?" He closed his eyes. "It was a long time ago." "Not to you, never to you," took his hand. "You're still fighting for her, still trying to save her." "I can't save her, she's dead." Jaw tightened. "But I can save others. Every person I protect is one more person who doesn't have to feel what I felt. That has to mean something." "It does, but," struggled for words. "You're killing yourself doing this. One piece at a time. How many more battles? How many more scars?" "As many as it takes." "Until what? Until you die, is that the plan?" Opened his eyes and looked at her. Really looked at her. "I don't have a plan, I just keep moving forward. If I stop, if I think too much, I remember. And remembering hurts more than fighting." Felt tears on her face. "I'm supposed to be a reason for you to stop, that's what said. That's why they married us. But I'm not enough, am I?" "You're enough," squeezed her hand. "You're more than enough, but there are people who need help, and I'm the only one who can reach them in time. How do I say no to that? How do I choose my peace over their lives?" That was the question, wasn't it? The impossible choice. Had no answer. Recovered slowly. By the end of the 3rd week he could walk. By the 4th week he was training again. Gentle exercises that made his doctors angry, but couldn't sit still, couldn't rest. He needed to move, to stay sharp, because he knew another fight was coming. He was right. The message came 2 months after the challenge. Emergency channels, maximum priority. A colony on the border was under attack, not by or pirates, by Vex. The warlord had returned, and this time he brought friends, 12 other warlords, 12 other fleets, a coalition united against the human alliance. Emperor appeared on the comm screens looking old and defeated. "The combined fleet is too large. Even with human ships we cannot win. Vex is demanding fight him personally. If wins, the coalition leaves. If Vex wins, he burns every world we have." The Human Council debated abandoning the. Let them face Vex alone, save human lives, break the alliance. Stood before the council, and spoke with a voice that shook the chamber. "If you abandon us now, you prove Vex right. You prove that humans only care about humans. You prove that your soldier fought and bled for nothing." She looked at each. "My people trusted your promises. My people trusted. Will you make him a liar?" The debate raged for hours. In the end, Admiral cast the deciding vote. "We fight," she said simply. "Together, that's what the alliance means." Was in their quarters when found him. He was packing his gear, checking his weapons, getting ready. "You're going again," said. "I have to." "I know," picked up a weapon harness, started helping him pack. "This time I'm going with you to fight, not to watch." Stopped. "I'm a princess, but I'm also a pilot, one of the best to have." She met his eyes. "You taught me something. You taught me that one person can make a difference, so let me make a difference. Let me fight beside you." studied her for a long moment. Then he smiled, a real smile, the first she had ever seen from him. "Okay," he said, "but you follow my orders, deal." "Deal." They prepared for the final battle together. Husband and wife. Human and two people against an army. It should have felt hopeless. Instead, felt something she hadn't felt in months. Hope. She married a human to end a war, then watched him destroy armies alone. Part 5. The combined fleet gathered at the border. Human battlecruisers and crystal ships flying side by side. It should have been enough. It wasn't. Vex's coalition outnumbered them 3-1. Sat in the cockpit of her fighter watching the enemy fleet approach. So many ships, so many warriors. Beside her in the command ship was planning with the admirals. "The colony world is the key," said over the comm. All pilots could hear. "Vex wants us to defend it, wants us spread thin. We won't do that." "Then what's the plan?" Admiral asked. "We concentrate our forces, hit their flagship, cut off the head," pulled up tactical displays. "Vex wants to prove humans aren't special. I'm going to prove him right." "What do you mean?" Emperor sounded confused. "I mean humans aren't special. We're just stubborn and we're better together," highlighted the formation. "We fight as one fleet, one force. Human tactics with speed. We show them what an alliance really means." It was simple, almost too simple, but saw the genius in it. Vex expected to fight alone, expected the fleets to fight separately. This would surprise him. The battle began at dawn. The coalition fleet charged forward, confident in their numbers. The alliance fleet didn't scatter. They stayed together, tight formation, moving as one. Fighter squadron led the attack. 12 pilots and 12 human pilots flying in perfect sync. They dove into the enemy lines like a knife. Behind them, the capital ships followed, protecting them, supporting them. "Fighter Group 2 break left." His voice was calm in her ear. "Draw their cruisers away. Group 3 cover them." Rolled her fighter, dodging enemy fire. A human pilot named Jin flew beside her, matching her every move. They had trained together for 2 weeks, learned each other's styles. Now they flew like one mind. "This is actually working," Jin said, surprised. "Of course it's working," replied. "We have." But the coalition was vast. For every ship they destroyed, 2 more appeared. The battle turned into a grind. Brutal, bloody. Ships on both sides began to fall. "We're losing," Admiral said. "Even together we can't match their numbers." "Yes we can." His voice was hard. "We just need their flagship. Can you clear a path?" Looked at the tactical display. Vex's flagship was deep in the enemy formation, surrounded by hundreds of ships. Getting there would be suicide. "I can try," she said. "Don't try, do it." Paused. "I'm coming with you." "What, you're not a pilot?" "I don't need to be, I just need to get close." A small ship detached from the command vessel. It's personal transport. "Lead the way, princess, like you said, together." Smiled inside her helmet. "All fighters form on me. We're going deep." 24 fighters, 24 pilots, against hundreds of enemy ships. They flew straight into the heart of the coalition fleet, dodging, weaving, taking hits, losing pilots, but always moving forward. Jin's ship exploded beside. She screamed his name but couldn't stop. Had to keep going. 3 more fighters fell, then 5 more. The survivors pushed on. His fighter was hit. Alarms screamed. Hull breach. Engines failing. She was done. His transport pulled alongside. "Get out. Transfer to my ship." "There's no time." "Trust me." Ejected, her pod flew through space for 3 terrible seconds. Then's transport caught her, pulled her inside. She stumbled into the cockpit, bleeding from a dozen cuts. "You okay?" asked. He was already turning the ship toward the flagship. "I'm fine. What's the plan?" "Same as always." Hands moved over the controls. "Get close, make them pay." They crashed into Vex's flagship's hangar. Not landed, crashed. The ship was destroyed, but they survived. Barely. grabbed weapons and kicked open the door. "Stay behind me," he said. They ran through the flagship's corridors. Enemy soldiers tried to stop them, fought like he always did. Calm, precise, deadly. But this time fought beside him. She wasn't as good, wasn't as fast, but she was there, covering his back, trusting him to cover hers. They reached the bridge together. Vex was waiting, massive, armored, angry. "The demon and his princess," Vex laughed. "You think you can kill me?" "We think we can try," said simply. Vex charged and split apart. 2 targets, harder to hit. They flanked him, fired from both sides. Vex's armor absorbed the shots, but he was confused, angry. He had expected Alone, expected an easy fight. This wasn't easy. This was 2 people working together. Every time Vex turned to, hit him from behind. Every time he focused on, struck. Slowly, they wore him down. Vex grabbed, his claws closed around her throat. She couldn't breathe, couldn't move. Shot was perfect, right through Vex's eye. The warlord fell, dead before he hit the ground. Collapsed gasping, pulled her up. "We need to get out," he said. "This ship is..." Explosions rocked the flagship. The coalition fleet was falling apart without its leader. Ships scattered, some surrendered, others ran. Outside, the Alliance fleet pressed forward, human and fighting together, winning together. And escaped in a stolen shuttle just as the flagship exploded. They floated in space, watching the battle end. The coalition was broken. The war was over. Months passed. The Alliance grew stronger. Human and built colonies together, shared technology, shared culture. The marriage that started as politics became real. Both sides learned from each other. Retired from active duty, for real this time. The council granted him full honors, gave him a choice of any posting he wanted. He chose a teaching position on a small colony world, history, like he used to do. Stood beside him on their first day there, watching students file into the classroom. Human students, other species too, all learning together. "Are you happy?" she asked him. "Thought about it. I'm not sure I remember what happy feels like, but this is close." "That's a start." They walked into the classroom together. Husband and wife, teacher and pilot. The soldier who fought armies alone had finally found something worth more than fighting. Someone to stand beside, someone to build a future with. The war had ended, but the Alliance was just beginning. Children born of both species played together in the streets. Mixed families became common. The galaxy saw what happened when enemies became friends, when 2 peoples chose unity over hatred. And on quiet nights would find looking at the stars, thinking about the battles, the friends lost, the scars that would never fade. "Do you miss it?" she asked once. "The fighting?" "No," said, but his hand touched the old scars on his fingers. "But I think it misses me. War always comes back, it's patient." "Then we'll face it together," took his hand. "Not you alone, never alone again." Smiled the real smile. The one had learned meant he was truly content. "Together," he agreed. Years later, their daughter asked about the war, about how a princess married a human and peace followed, told her the truth. "Your father didn't end the war by fighting alone," she said. "He ended it by teaching us to fight together. That's what made the difference. That's what changed everything." Their daughter looked up at them, half human, half the future of 2 species in one child. "Will there be more wars?" she asked. "Probably," said honestly. "The galaxy is a dangerous place." "Then what do we do?" Knelt down to her level. "We do what we've always done. We stand together. We protect each other. And we never forget that alone we're strong, but together we're unstoppable." The child smiled and ran off to play, and watched her go. "She has your stubbornness," said. "And your courage," replied. They stood on the porch of their small house watching the sunset. 2 species, 1 family, 1 future. The soldier who destroyed armies alone had finally found peace. Not in victory, not in retirement, but in belonging, in love, in the simple act of standing beside someone and knowing you weren't alone anymore. The war was over, the alliance was strong, and the demon with patient eyes was just a teacher again, just a father, just a man who had learned that sometimes the bravest thing wasn't fighting alone. It was letting someone stand with you. The end.